Today, we are in the beautiful outdoors and we are gonna make the viral banana soap recipe. So I was talking to a soap maker a while back and she told me, have you ever made soap with banana? And I was like, why would I do that? Would that even work? And she said, yeah, it leads to a very, very beautiful lather. And I said, it doesn't make sense. I have to try this. Why would banana anyway lead to a great lather? Banana in soap making is basically carbs. It's basically sugars, nothing more than that. All the vitamins, all the antioxidants, whatever else is there in banana, it's all degraded, because when you are in a soap making environment, you are in an environment of high alkalinity, meaning you have a high pH and high temperature, which tends to degrade everything. So the only thing that's left is basically sugars. And as we know, sugar helps a bit increase the lather of the soap. But today's episode is very, very unique because we are in the outdoors. We don't have any electricity and we're gonna try to make soap with no electricity, which means that we will have to melt our solid butter, which is going to be coconut oil, by using the heat released by the lye solution. In our previous recipe, I tried to do the same, but I also used shea butter. Shea butter is a very hard butter and it was quite tricky to dissolve that. In this recipe, I'm using a high concentration of olive oil. I'm using 72% olive oil, 19% coconut oil, 6% castor oil, and 3% sea buckthorn oil. Olive oil will add conditioning properties to our lather. We add it in a very high concentration, which means our soap is going to be perfect for sensitive skin types because it's going to create an amazing gentle lather. But at the same time, it means that we will have to cure our soap for minimum 6 months. Olive oil is high in oleic acid, and oleic acid takes a lot of time to be converted into soap. And that's why soaps that are made with a very high concentration of olive oil need to be cured for minimum 6 months. Then we have 19% of coconut oil, which is a moderate amount of coconut oil that will ensure we have a few bubbles but not too much, so our soap will still be suitable for dry and sensitive skin types. Then we're gonna add 6% castor oil, which is gonna add this amazing thick and rich bubble, so it's going to help to boost lather a bit because castor oil is high in ricinoleic acid, and ricinoleic acid helps with just that. And in the end, we're going to add 3% sea buckthorn oil. Sea buckthorn oil is this natural oil that basically we add it because it's going to add a phenomenal yellowish orange color. So I can't wait to add this recipe and to add this banana inside, so let's get down to it. And by the way, if you want a free soap making recipe that contains shea butter, coconut oil, olive oil and castor oil, and it also includes a long lasting essential oil blend with patchouli essential oil, then comment soap and I will send to you as soon as I see your comment. We are outdoors, we don't have electricity, so we're gonna use the heat of the lye solution to melt our coconut oil. We are only using 19% coconut oil, and this time, compared to the previous video, we are avoiding shea butter in order for the solid butters to be easily melted. Shea butter is very hard, so that's why it was a bit harder before to actually melt it down. We are only gonna use coconut oil, which is slightly softer, and we are gonna make sure we spread it evenly in a stainless steel bowl and then add it on top of our lye solution. So let's go ahead and measure 19% of coconut oil. I'm using a total of 500 grams, so 19% is basically 95 grams of coconut oil. So now I'm gonna measure our lye water. To measure our lye water, I am using distilled water. You can still make soap with tap water, but if you want consistent results, you always need to use distilled water. So we are measuring 127 grams of distilled water. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add our sodium hydroxide. And when you're working with sodium hydroxide, you always make sure you wear protective gear and you are in a well-ventilated area, and you don't stand right above your lye solution because there are gonna be fumes and you don't want to smell those fumes. So always make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. Right now we're outdoors, so that's perfect. And always make sure you add your lye in the water and never the other way around. Otherwise, you will create a highly exothermic solution. So we're gonna go ahead and add 68 grams of lye. We're going to place our coconut oil on top of this to basically melt it. Our coconut oil is almost melted. I'm gonna go ahead and basically measure our olive oil, castor oil, and our sea buckthorn oil. So first I'm gonna start with 360 grams of olive oil. Then I'm gonna go ahead with 30 grams of castor oil. And then we're gonna go ahead with sea buckthorn oil, which is a phenomenal ingredient, and it is what will add this amazing color. Okay, having only coconut oil works better than having coconut oil and shea butter. While we wait, let's measure our fragrance oil. And of course, since we're making banana soap, we are gonna use a fragrance banana scent. Banana scent, you cannot find it natural. Most fruits, you cannot find them natural, so you have to buy them as fragrance oils. Fragrance oils are synthetic. They're made specifically for soap making. They're very stable and long lasting, and they're much cheaper than essential oils. But when you buy fragrance oils, always make sure you buy fragrance oils that do not contain any phthalates or parabens, because those are hormonal disruptors. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure 20 grams of my banana fragrance oil. So this is basically ready to go. So now we have our fragrance oil ready. The next thing we want to do is that we're gonna take half a banana and we are going to basically mush it, basically smash it like that, and then we're gonna add it at trays. And if you want to join a private community of amazing soap makers alongside with video courses, ebooks, soap making tools, so make sure you click the link in bio and join the formulators community. So as you can see, our coconut oil is actually completely melted. I think the fact that it's very sunny at the moment really helped. Usually I would make sure we mix our oils and lye solution at low similar temperatures, and right now we are at around 27 degrees in our oils and around 31 degrees in our lye solution. I like to work with around 30 degrees Celsius, so it's not ideal, but it will still do the work. So we're gonna go ahead and add our lye solution in the oil solution. Then we're gonna add the banana, the actual banana, the banana fragrance oil, and then we're gonna pour it into the mold. I'm very excited for this. Let's go ahead and see how it turns out. So we do not have a stick blender. Usually for this type of work, you need a stick blender. But we're gonna whisk with our hand instead, and that's gonna take some time. We're gonna whisk until we reach light trays. So I've been whisking for around 10 minutes now, and it's still not quite there yet. But I'm gonna go ahead and add the banana. Why am I gonna do this? Banana is full of sugars, and sugars speed up saponification. So I'm gonna add it in the hope that I'm going to speed up the emulsification and the saponification so that we reach light trays faster. Let's go ahead and see if that works. I'm also gonna go ahead and add the fragrance oil. So I'm gonna whisk a bit more, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add this beautiful cornflower dried blossom, which will create a beautiful aesthetic. So let's go ahead and pour it into the mold. So I just came back home, And what I did actually to make sure that our soap is going to be nice, long-lasting and hard and easy to get removed from the mold is that I placed it in the oven at the lowest possible temperature. I basically heated the oven at 30 degrees Celsius, which is the lowest temperature that my oven can go to, and then I turned it off and left it inside with the light on, and I'm gonna leave it inside for approximately 3 to 4 hours. This is the so-called cold process oven process method, and it's used in order to basically accelerate saponification, accelerate gel phase, make colors pop, and it also leads to a very, very long-lasting soap. The cold process oven process method is not suitable for all types of soaps. So it's not suitable for soaps that contain milks or juices that tend to overheat. And you will ask me, but don't we have banana in one of the soaps? And it's true, we have a bit of banana that tends to overheat, but I'm still taking the risk and placing it in the oven because, as you saw before, the emulsification, in order to reach emulsification in trays, it was very, very difficult and very challenging. So that's why I'm putting it in the oven, to basically make sure our soap will be ready by tomorrow. Let's see how it looks like tomorrow, and let's see if that method worked. So here is the final banana soap. As you can see, it's after 24 hours, it's nice and hard. And as I said also in my previous video, my takeaway from this experiment is that it's possible to make soap without electricity, but it's not ideal. The ultimate test will be after 4 to 6 weeks, where I can test the soap in the shower and see if it passes also the pH test. Here's the banana soap. Thank you so much for following me in this adventure. I've also made in the previous video a forest soap with rosemary, patchouli, lychea cubeba and cedarwood. And at the same day I've made the banana soap. It's been an amazing day and a very challenging day, perhaps the most challenging soap making I've ever done. It reminds us of how they used to make soap hundreds of years ago when there was no electricity. So that was a good learning and a great experience to go through. But thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video.